Hello, this is Mark Silverman, managing member and founder of Silverman & Associates, and I'm also a certified financial planner professional. I want to welcome you to the Saving with Silverman podcast. I'm glad you're here. Each week, we'll discuss different financial planning topics because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
You're listening to Saving with Silverman. This is Ron Stutz along with Mark Silverman. You are a certified financial planner professional at Silverman & Associates. We appreciate you being with us today. Once again, your phone number to call or text is 520-333-7601. That is 520-333-7601. You use that number to call or text, and that'll put you in touch with Silverman & Associates, and you can arrange a time, a convenient time, to come in and have a conversation with Mark. That's all it's about. No obligation, no cost. 520-333-7601. That's 520-333-7601. Mark, let's talk about crisis and opportunity. What do you say? You ready for this?
Let's give it a shot.
Well, to write the Chinese word for crisis, you combine elements of two different Chinese characters. One character means danger, while the other one means opportunity. Now, translated into English, because I don't know Chinese, it means opportunity riding on a dangerous wind. So I thought maybe we could discuss some of those crises like this and how they might actually be opportunities depending on your situation and depending on your perspective. First of all, what about the empty nest? You know, for some parents, the empty nest stage of life is really a great time. For others, it's not so great. What do you think about this? What are your thoughts?
Well, we've assisted clients through this stage, and, I think it's kind of maybe a mixed set of emotions, if you will. On one end, there's the sadness because the kids are gone, and then there's also the opportunity that the kids are gone, which also, financially speaking, sometimes creates some opportunities because maybe you were paying for their college, maybe paying for some bills. I know some of the kids, they were paying for, food, living in the house, that sorts of things. And maybe that stuff stops. I guess sometimes it doesn't stop when they do move out. In some cases, maybe it never does. But
exactly right.
That's another conversation. But, really, it's an opportunity to maybe focus more on retirement and the next stage of your life, whether it includes more travel now that the kids are gone, enjoying the things that you want to do, going out to dinners more, golf, whatever it might be. But so I think there's an opportunity there. But like I said, having gone through this with so many of our clients, there's usually a mixed bag. There's a sense of excitement that this is a new stage, but by the same token, the kids are out of the house. It might seem a little bit different now.
Well, it's good that they're not around eating out of house and home still, and you have a lot more freedom, that's for sure. But you can certainly see how that's a crisis for a lot of folks, and it's easy to have mixed feelings on that particular thing. Here's another crisis for you, or a potential crisis. How about market crashes? I mean, I don't think anybody would argue that might be a crisis.
No, it's, when we're certainly seeing it since, February, March certainly has been, not great months given what we've seen as far as this run. This month's still, too early to tell what's going to happen. But I think there is an opportunity there because a lot of people who are on the sidelines, and we see people who are sitting on the sidelines afraid that the market's too high. Maybe you buy in on a day when the market's down and there's some opportunity there. Again, we're not trying to time the market, but maybe there's an opportunity that if you buy it on a down day, if you're holding it for the right reasons and you're diversifying, investing properly, and focusing on your goals, it could be an opportunity of maybe a good time to get in versus, seeing the market go up and up each day, which we saw for quite a number of years, quite honestly. But seeing this increased volatility that we've seen, like I said, recently, there might be something to it. But again, nobody likes to see their account go down. But if you analyze and you're doing the proper risk and diversifying properly, it could be a good opportunity.
You're listening to Saving with Silverman with Mark Silverman of Silverman & Associates. I'm Ron Stutz, and we're talking about crisis and opportunity. Here's another crisis for you, or potential crisis. Maybe it's a crisis, maybe it's an opportunity. How about long-term care insurance rates that go up? What's your take on that?
Well, Ron, we've certainly seen rates go up, and that trend's probably going to continue because unfortunately the number of issuers out there that issue traditional long-term care insurance has decreased. So less competition is not a good thing for consumers, unfortunately. The good news is there are other options. And we've mentioned these before. There's some annuities that can offer some long-term care coverage, or what I prefer is really different types of insurance that's out there, life insurance that offers long-term care benefits. And we use this quite a bit with our clients, which is a way to leverage your money into paying for long-term care. But there are some significant differences using this approach than using traditional long-term care where, it's not use it or lose it. You still have access to your cash. It's a way to leverage your money. You still have to qualify, of course, because it is insurance, but to me, it makes a lot more sense. And these options weren't available years ago. So if you have an old long-term care policy, this might not even been an option out there, but they are available now. And as I've said before, insurance is actually cheaper now than it used to be because of the fact that people are living longer. Most of the companies have adapted the 2017 mortality tables, which means people are living longer, which means the insurance company can now hold on to your money longer than they used to be able to, which means that the cost of insurance is cheaper. So it's something to explore. If you haven't had this conversation with somebody, certainly give us a call. We're happy to have that discussion with you.
One more situation I wanted to throw out there. You know how they say when one door closes, another one opens, or another window opens, or something like that. I can't remember. But how about if you get laid off? I mean, on the one hand, that can be really bad, but on the other hand, it could present you some new opportunities.
It really depends on the situation. But if you do get laid off, do you stay? Is that the meaning that you're going to be retired now, or do you look for another job, et cetera? I guess it depends on your circumstances. But, when one door closes, another one opens. I truly believe that. And so maybe there's a better opportunity out there. But unless you have a plan, you really don't know where you stand. Sometimes you might get what we call golden parachute, where maybe the deal that they're offering you, even though they're laying you off, is too good to pass up, and it's a great deal. Maybe you need to go back to work, maybe you don't, but you don't know that unless you have somebody build you a comprehensive financial plan. If you're just kind of winging it, it's not a good strategy. So again, I'm of the belief that when one door closes, another one opens. So, things always work out in the end.
I know there's some folks out there right now who are listening to today's conversation and thinking that, this Mark Silverman guy makes a lot of sense. I'd like to come in and have a conversation with him. What do you have to offer that person?
Well, whether you're a first-time listener to the show or you've heard me for a long time, if anything I've said makes sense or resonates with you, this is now your chance to come in and have a conversation with me. I don't pawn you off on somebody else, to come in my office and go through this process that we call the financial physical. And I can assure you, I will not be trying to sell you investment or insurance products. I repeat, this is not a sales meeting. I've listened to some of the other shows this past weekend on the radio, and I can tell you a lot of these people are simply just selling stuff. And I don't think that's what people really want. Rather, we're going to discuss your values and goals in a way, honestly, you probably never have. This consultation is designed for both individuals as well as couples. However, if you are married, it is mandatory that both spouses attend this initial meeting. So whether you're still working or already retired, this is a great opportunity to see what it looks like to work with someone who's actually required to have a fiduciary responsibility to look out for your best interest at all times. And as part of the financial physical, we will discuss your cash reserves, debt if you have any, insurance, all types, and how to best allocate your assets. And we'll even benchmark where you are now financially compared to where you want to be, so you have an even better perspective of what's required to achieve your goals for the reasons that are important to you. This will become the foundation for developing a plan that gives you the highest probability of making that happen. This meeting will be valuable to you whether or not we decide to work together. There is no cost or obligation for this initial appointment. However, it is best suited for people who have saved at least $250,000. And as you probably are aware, I am a certified financial planner professional, and I believe the only one locally here on the radio in Tucson. And the going hourly rate to me with a CFP such as myself can cost as much as $300 an hour. So this is a tremendous value and chance to finally get your financial house in order and keep it that way. And your only commitment is an hour or so of your time. We try our best to help everyone, however our slots fill up quickly. So I can only guarantee a complimentary meeting to the next 5 people that contact us right now. Please don't procrastinate, because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
Here's how you can get in touch, 520-333-7601. That's 520-333-7601. Call or text if you're more comfortable doing that, 520-333-7601. That'll put you in touch with Mark Silverman, certified financial planner professional at Silverman & Associates, serving Tucson and the whole surrounding area. This is Saving with Silverman.
Picture this. Your financial statements have come in the mail. What's going through your head as you open them up? Maybe all that financial jargon is flustering. Maybe the numbers are confusing, or maybe those red arrows are leaving you in a funk. Don't base your future on a monthly letter. Keep listening to Saving with Silverman. Learn what true financial planning really looks like.
Thanks for listening to Saving with Silverman, starring Mark Silverman on the radio every week. 520-333-7601. That's your number to call or text if you'd like to get in touch with him. If you live in Tucson or anywhere in southern Arizona, go ahead and call that number, 520-333-7601. 520-333-7601. Call or text. And this is Ron Stutz. And Mark, you know what they say about making assumptions. We don't need to repeat that here on the radio show, but we often see people making certain assumptions about retirement that just aren't correct. So I thought maybe we could explore some of those and you can explain these. There are a lot of people who say, hey, I'm going to spend a lot less money when I retire. That's not a good assumption to make, is it?
You know, having done, I don't even know how many financial plans we've done, probably hundreds over the years. But having done financial plans, you know, we help people in all stages. We have some people who are building plans for who are already retired. And obviously, it's easier to predict what you're going to spend in retirement when you're already in retirement. And then for those who are planning retirement, it's a little more difficult to figure out what you're going to spend. As a CFP, we tell people you're going to probably spend, they say, about 70 to 80% of your working income in retirement. I can tell you, however, from doing this for so long, that we find that most people spend about the same amount of money in retirement as they did when they were working. So about the same. Yeah, there are some cases where people spend a little bit less. In fact, we have some clients who actually spend more. It really depends on what you're going to do in retirement. But I would say on average, most people spend about the same. You know, if you don't have a mortgage, you could probably, you know, if your house is paid off by the time you retire, you could probably back out the mortgage payment if you're going to be staying put and not having to worry about that. But for other people who are keeping a mortgage, you are going to need to create that cash flow to maintain that lifestyle.
Kind of along those same lines, a lot of people just assume that their taxes are going to be lower when they retire, and that's another dangerous assumption to make.
Yeah, you know, when I started in this business on the brokerage side right out of college, that was the whole idea. We didn't have Roth IRAs when I started. It was just traditional IRAs. And the goal was you put money in the IRA, you get the deduction now, it grows tax deferred, and then when you go to take the money out, you're in a lower tax bracket. Unfortunately, through experience, I've come to realize that's not necessarily the case because, you know, we talked about empty nesters earlier. You know, kids are gone, so you don't have that deduction. A lot of times the house is free and clear, so there's no mortgage. Who knows, maybe the mortgage won't be deductible anyways for anybody. That's what they're saying. But you don't have all the deductions that you had when you were working. And so you might not necessarily, especially if you have, you know, Social Security can be taxable. People don't realize that. But you have pensions or you have some other income, investment income, that sort of thing. You could have a hefty income where you're unfortunately not going to be able to, you know, reduce your taxes, and you may be in a similar tax bracket as you were when you were working.
Okay, one more here about assumptions. And, you know, we say never assume without really looking into it and deciding if this is actually the right decision to make. Some folks say, I need to help my kids get through college before I start worrying about saving for retirement. You know, some people do that and they make a big mistake by doing it.
You know, and I get it. You want to help your kids. You know, some people are firm believers in paying for their children's college education, grandchildren, et cetera. And then there's some that say, you know what, my parents didn't pay for it for me. I had to figure out my own way so they could figure out their own scholarships and pay their own way. And I agree with both of them. I don't think there's a right or wrong. It just depends on how you feel about that. But there are some that will put their own retirement off while their kids are through college. And I get it. It's expensive. I mean, even if they're going here to the U of A, it's a lot more than it was when I was going. And so it's a big expense, especially if you have, you know, a couple kids, et cetera, especially at the same time. So I do understand that, but you need to be putting money away, whether it's funding your retirement plans through work, you know, funding Roths if you have them, you know, just saving money so you can have the type of retirement that you want. And so it's really important that you put all these pieces of the puzzle together and you don't just focus on one thing, but look at everything all together.
Okay, and we're talking about making assumptions. People make big mistakes by making assumptions. And here on Saving with Silverman, interesting conversation today with Mark Silverman. There are people out there who say, I'll never be able to retire. I'm sure that you have heard that numerous times. What do you have to say about that one?
Well, you know, we do financial planning. That's what we do. We will run the numbers and show people, one, if you're already retired, are you going to be able to maintain that retirement? Is there any pitfalls in your plan? Is there any things that are areas of concern that may jeopardize you or your spouse running out of money while you're still alive? You know, we'll show you that. But for people who haven't retired yet, that we're in the planning stages of deciding when they should retire, how much, et cetera. We will run the numbers for that too. And in some cases, people are in good shape. In some cases, people aren't in good shape. And so we can always find some areas of improvement. There's always room for improvement. I'm a big believer in that. And for some people, if you have more time, there's more things that we can do to get you to that point. If you have less time or you're planning on retiring in a shorter time period, a lot of times there's not a lot you can do. And maybe you do have to delay retirement or live off less, et cetera, save more and do those sorts of things. We tell it like it is. There's no silver bullet in what we're doing. But it's important that you understand where you are. And when you're doing your planning, making sure somebody's run the numbers rather than, and this is how some advisors treat this, rather than sell you either a bunch of mutual funds or sell you an annuity, whatever it might be, to try to solve your problems. These strategies of, and I don't want to mention names, but, safe money this and safe money strategy and this strategy, their strategies to sell you a product. And at the end of the day, when you're ready to retire, hopefully it works, but a lot of times that person's not going to be around to help you through that, whoever sold you that product. So you want to work with someone that's going to go through this process with you and guide you and give you advice rather than just sell you something. And our goal is to help people, manage their money effectively, retire properly, and really point out some areas that maybe that are of concern that they can maybe do a better job at. But at the end of the day, we will tell you with a high level of predictability, you're okay, you're not okay. And if you're not okay, what can you do to be okay? And sometimes that's things that we can do on our end. Sometimes it's things that you need to be doing a better job on your end.
One important thing to point out here, and we haven't talked about this lately, is that Mark Silverman is a fiduciary. That means that he has your best interest at heart. He's not trying to sell you something. You can go to the website, if you like, savingwithsilverman.com, to find out more about Mark Silverman. But Mark has a special offer for you. And Mark, what do you have for folks who decide to make that phone call?
Sure. Well, just like you get a second opinion on your health, why wouldn't you get a second opinion on your wealth? So whether you're do-it-yourself or already working with someone, this is now your opportunity to go through this process that we call the financial physical. Do you know what your investments are truly costing you? If you're still working, are you on track to have the type of retirement you've always envisioned? Or if you're already retired, do you know if you or your spouse are at risk of running out of money while trying to maintain your current lifestyle? I can assure you I will not be trying to sell you investment or insurance products. I repeat, this is not a sales meeting. In this initial consultation, we'll address issues of importance to you, provide an overall view of your situation, and give you some general advice on what needs to be completed. This consultation is designed for both individuals as well as couples. However, if you are married, it is mandatory that both spouses attend this initial meeting. So whether you're still working or already retired, this is a great opportunity to see what it looks like to work with someone who is actually required to have a fiduciary responsibility to look out for your best interest at all times. This meeting will be valuable to you whether or not we decide to work together. There is no cost or obligation for this initial appointment. However, it is best suited for people who have saved at least $250,000. And as you probably are aware, I am a certified financial planner professional, and I believe the only one locally here on the radio in Tucson. And the going hourly rate to meet with a CFP such as myself can cost as much as $300 an hour. So this is a tremendous value and chance to finally get your financial house in order and keep it that way. And your only commitment is an hour or so of your time. Just as you want to reach a healthy life from a physical standpoint, you also want to reach and maintain great financial health. So our financial physical is just what the doctor ordered. We try our best to help everyone, however, our slots fill up quickly. So I can only guarantee a complimentary meeting to the next 5 people that contact us right now. Please don't procrastinate, because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
520-333-7601. Again, that's 520-333-7601. Call or text. Maybe you're in your car. You're driving around right now. You can't look at your calendar. That's fine. All you need to do right now is reach out to us, leave a message, and let us know you'd like some help. 520-333-7601. Someone from Mark's office will call you back later and work out all the details and when you might get together. You and I both know that this is something that's really easy to put off. A lot of people procrastinate, so why not make a vow right now? You're not going to procrastinate. You're going to do it right now. 520-333-7601. Call or text. You're listening to Saving with Silverman with Mark Silverman of Silverman & Associates.
Mark Silverman is a Tucson native, and his firm is right here in town. That means he's always accessible to you. Start your relationship with Mark and his team today. Keep listening to Saving with Silverman.
You're listening to Saving with Silverman with Mark Silverman, of course, of Silverman and Associates. And Mark's number is 520-333-7601. Call or text that number if you'd like to get in touch. You can check out Mark's website, savingwithsilverman.com. But again, that phone number, 520-333-7601. Mark, as always, we have some great questions that have come in on the request line. And our first question today is from Arnold in Vail. Arnold says, I'm thinking that I'll spend a lot of money during my first few years of retirement and then a lot less after I've been retired for 5 years or so. Is that usually the way it works?
Well, Arnold, that's a great question. It really depends on when you retire. If somebody retires at age 50 versus somebody retires at age 70, the 50-year-old probably is going to be spending a lot more money for a lot more years because you're going to be a lot more active. What we do find, and we particularly pay attention to this when we do our planning and goals and et cetera, is you may be spending more money like traveling, for example. And we'll usually scale down the travel budget when you reach maybe age 85 or 80, somewhere between age 80 to 85, depending on how active you are. Because what we find is once you hit that age, you might not be traveling as much. But where you will be spending that money on is healthcare, whether that's a nursing home, long-term care facility, et cetera. So it doesn't mean you're going to be spending less. You're going to probably be spending the same, if not more, but in different areas. You'll be spending money on fun stuff until age 80, 85, and then you'll probably be spending more money on things that you have to pay for that you don't want to pay for, which is, healthcare issues. But great question.
All right. If you'd like to get more complete answers to that question, Arnold, then why not give Mark's office a ring and arrange to come in. Our next question today is from Lou in Saddlebrook. And Lou says, should I buy gold coins or gold bars or no gold at all?
It's a great question. We do get the gold, silver question. It's been a while since I think somebody's asked it. But, it's a way to diversify. The easiest way to buy it is coins. I like gold eagles myself, but you could buy the bars however you want to do it. I wouldn't put more than 10% of your net worth into precious metals, whether it be gold, silver, platinum, et cetera. But if you did want to have some, that's probably the best way to do it. You can own it through funds and stuff like that too. But, if you want to just own the gold outright, I'm not making a suggestion of buying gold. Your guess is as good as mine. People say, if you have gold, it can't go to zero. There's lots of these, commercials on TV to put it in your IRA, et cetera. I wouldn't do that either. But if you're going to buy it, hold the physical gold, but just realize that, yes, it can't go to zero, but yes, you can lose money buying gold, silver, et cetera. So it doesn't mean you can't lose money in it. And people that have bought precious metals know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you are going to buy it and you decide you want to do it, I wouldn't put more than 10% of your overall net worth into precious metals.
Here on Saving with Silverman, we're going through the questions that have come in on the request line, and we have one more today. Mark, this is from Victoria in Bisbee. Victoria says she's in her late 50s and recently divorced, and she's extremely worried about what retirement will look like now that she'll just have one Social Security benefit and half of her assets that she had planned on having. She says, Mark, can I overcome a divorce this late in life? And again, she's in her late 50s.
Well, Victoria, thanks for reaching out. I'm sorry having to go through divorce. I've seen, witnessed many clients that had to go through that. Unfortunately, whether this was your doing or your ex's doing, it's tough either way. And so, you just want to make sure that you have a solid plan. And obviously the plans have changed. So if you did have a financial plan before when you were married, now it's significantly different. So you want to have that plan updated, redone, whatever it might be. If you don't have a plan, then now's a great time to do it, to make sure that you're going to be okay now that your situation's changed, to make sure, I don't know if you're still working or not, but to make sure that you're going to have enough money to do the things that you want to do and enjoy life, because life does go on, I can tell you that. But I'm sorry for what you're going through, and I'm happy to sit down with you and kind of go through that. Like I said, we've assisted many of our clients through that process and try to make it as easy as possible. I know it's difficult, but the financial stuff can be worked through.
That's for sure. I know that there are folks out there right now who may have other questions in addition to these that we got today, and Victoria, Lou, and Arnold all might want to follow up with you on more details about their particular questions. What can you offer those folks who decide to reach out? And again, I'm going to give that phone number again in just a moment.
Well, Ron, we've had some great questions. I want to thank the people that have submitted them. If you go to our website, which is savingwithsilverman.com, there's some great information on there. But if you click the media tab on the radio, you can see there's a place to submit a question. And if you do, maybe you'll get to hear it here on the air on a future show. So now's my chance to ask you a question, and can you answer it honestly and objectively as possible? Aside from the happy hellos and how's the family, and aside from the occasional lunch or golf game, I mean, I get it. I'm as much friends with so many of my clients, they become true friends over the many years. But I think the question has to be asked, especially in light of the stakes. Is your current financial advisor truly adding value beyond a doubt? And I'm going to repeat, is your current financial advisor truly adding value? It's a valid question, as a friendship or just relationship allows you not to be in a position to ask those critical questions. Are you talking about taxes? Are you talking about Social Security and income and risk and diversification and insurance and estate planning and healthcare? Are you having those annual reviews? But hopefully it's more frequently than that. Is there detailed follow-up? Is there accountability? If you are, if all of that is happening, congratulations, because you've got a great relationship, and send your financial advisor a thank you. But if you're not having that, if you're not feeling the value, if you're not having these in-depth conversations, then you owe it to yourself and really to your family to have a conversation with someone else, because if you don't, you're the one that's going to suffer. You're the one that's going to pay the cost, and it'll cost you in more ways than you'll ever know. Let us prove to you how we can help your money go further in retirement. Let us show you with our financial physical. I believe you'll be surprised at what you'll learn, and this won't cost you anything. Give us a call or send us a text to 520-333-7601, 520-333-7601. That's 520-333-7601, or check us out online at savingwithsilverman.com. That's savingwithsilverman.com. Please don't procrastinate, because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
520-333-7601. That is your number to call or text, 520-333-7601. You know, creating a solid retirement plan is a lot less daunting than you might expect. And it's a pleasant conversation you'll have when you come in and talk with Mark Silverman. So don't put it off. Don't worry about having your paperwork in front of you right now, or your calendar even. Just call and we can work out the details later. Call that number or text 520-333-7601 and get in touch with Mark Silverman's office. Mark will get back with you, and you can come in and have that conversation. So important. Mark Silverman at Silverman and Associates, serving Tucson and wherever you are in southern Arizona. Mark, good job on answering the questions today that we got on the request line.
Yeah, nothing happens until you make the call. Like Ron said, I mean, people procrastinate all the time. Now's a great time. You know, we're through the first quarter. Now's a good time to take a look at what you're doing. Obviously, the markets have been extremely volatile. Hopefully, you've had conversations with your advisor. But if you haven't, now's a great time to review to make sure that the risk you're taking is appropriate in case that we do continue to see the markets continually go down. If not, you know, we're happy to help either way. So I appreciate the time you spent with us.
Silverman and Associates Wealth Management, LLC is a registered investment advisor. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, product, service, or investment strategy. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified advisor, tax professional, or attorney before implementing any strategy or recommendation discussed herein.